All right, what is going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Wired Sound Podcast. Today we have a friend, a legend in the industry. We have Shawn Morton of Morton Hospitality. Shawn has been owning and operating some of the top nightclubs in South Florida, including DAER, Booze Garden, Sway, just to name a few. How you been, man?
Yeah, great, brother. Thank you. Appreciate the invite. Sorry it's my first time here, but this is amazing, brother. Really proud of everything you built over here.
Yeah, man. So, I'm just glad we can get you on. You're a Fort Lauderdale local, or are you...
I've been here, yeah, you could say that now, 15 years.
Okay.
So, originally from Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Nice.
But, yeah, adopted son now, I guess.
Yeah. So, wait, were you doing club, owning and operating in Atlantic City as well before...
I kind of grew up in it, yeah. So my father owned bars and nightclubs from when I was a kid up until he retired a few years back.
That's awesome.
So
that's a family business.
Over the reins, yep.
That's a pretty cool family business.
Some of my early memories, hanging out in clubs and bars. Yep.
Did you guys do like a 21st birthday at your club and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was working. I was a bartender at the time. So.
Okay. If you're ready to become a full-time DJ or music producer, check out Wired Sound Academy in South Florida. In just 4 weeks, we will take you to no experience to learning how to DJ and making some heaters. Check it out, wiredsoundacademy.com.
Yeah, between college and all of that.
I'll never forget my 21st birthday was at Griffin.
Oh, at the Hard Rock, yeah.
It was an awesome night, but ended at Johnny Rockets, and I got rather sloppy.
You bring
there.
us back. A lot of people don't remember. Hopefully people remember Griffin, but Johnny Rockets, there was a lot of different tenants than the Hard Rock.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the Hard Rock went through a major renovation.
Yeah.
When was that?
Renovation was right before the pandemic. So,
okay.
2020, I believe, was when the guitar opened, and we opened up DAER and Rooftop.
Okay. So wait, the DAER, so for those of you that don't know, DAER is pretty much, I'd say, the closest thing to Vegas that you're going to get in South Florida. It's like that vibe for sure. It feels like you're in a Vegas club.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah, look, we wanted to create kind of an entertainment complex within itself with the nightclub and the day club back to back, and then we have a rooftop lounge above that.
Yeah.
Overlooking the property, so something for everybody.
Yeah, I love the pool parties. Like, I love playing the pool party. It's always a vibe.
Bread and butter. It's something different that most markets don't have.
Yeah.
Even here in South Florida, it's great.
So what I was gonna say. So you operated Griffin prior to DAER, right?
Griffin was actually not ours. They were one of our neighbors. So originally, when the Hard Rock opened, there was 5 or 6 club and bar concepts.
Okay.
And then another 5 or 6 restaurants. So we had Passion.
Oh shit, I remember Passion too.
Was 14-year run, I think it was, from 2004 until about 2017.
Oh, wow.
Is when they knocked everything down to build the guitar.
Was Passion house music and stuff also, or was it more open?
3 different
format?
rooms. It wasn't a lot of house music. We did do some EDM bookings,
okay.
Steve Aoki, a couple other guys like that. But really, it was an open format spot. We had a Latin room. We also had a hip hop room. So
okay.
We had different rooms and different vibes.
Yeah. Did you So I mean, I'd say, well, you're doing different nights now, right? At DAER, it's dance music, it's tech house on Fridays, and then Sundays is more like Latin.
Yeah, we try to do something for everybody. It's we try to keep it consistent. Right now, we have our Tech Casa party on Fridays, which is a little more underground. Tech house, Afro house, a little bit of techno, that type of stuff. Saturdays, pool party is usually some kind of EDM.
Yeah.
Trying to get the biggest stuff we can get for each date. And nighttime, kind of the same thing. We do mix in some hip hop stuff, Latin, being in South Florida, it's such a big demographic. And the pool party on Sunday is kind of open format with a Latin vibe.
Okay. What, do you have a preference of your favorite ones to go to and attend? Or are you an EDM guy?
I like it all. I mean, I tell people I was raised on a hip hop and punk rock. It was it was a little bit different back then.
I know you're always at the rock concerts. I always see.
Yeah, for sure. I still got that's it's something I still love.
Yeah.
But it was a little different back then. We the clubs I grew up in were mostly hip hop and dance music. The early dance music. I started working at a young age back in the '90s, and that was. It was a lot different, the music, than it is now.
Yeah. So as far as the transition from Atlantic City to South Florida, you guys did that as a family, the Morton family, because your whole family's in hospitality, right? And running.
Yeah. My mom's a nurse. She retired, some years back. But my father was a teacher, and eventually he would bartend in the summers. ended up buying his own bar that blossomed into owning his own club, and more clubs. Years passed, and my first job was actually working at Coat Check. You don't have that here in Florida, but I was 14 years old, New Year's Eve, working with my grandmother.
Oh my
hanging
God.
coats in a nightclub called Deja Vu that we had in Atlantic City.
That's sick.
Yeah, and nowadays it's actually a rock club.
Okay.
So when I go home, sometimes I go see the guys over there. Yeah, they book bands and stuff.
Is your dad? Are they here now, or are they in South Florida?
They're actually right now in New Jersey, but they spend the winters here and the summers.
Okay, very cool.
Up there.
Yeah, so you still go up to Atlantic. I see you're in Atlantic City every once in a while.
Yeah, I'll be flying up there tomorrow.
But do you guys do any clubs up there still, or are you just in South Florida?
We haven't. I'd like to do something eventually, but we have our hands full here. So we're just focused on South Florida right now.
Yeah. So all right. So you got. Let me make sure I got this right. So you got DAER, Sway, Booze Garden is the rooftop at DAER.
Yeah, DAER Day Club Nightclub, rooftop at Hard Rock. Sway and Booze Garden downtown Fort Lauderdale. That's it right now. We got a new concept coming.
Okay.
We're doing a bar and restaurant on the beach in Hollywood.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Excited on that, yeah. Oceanfront. We're going to have to film the next one there. The beach for a background. I love,
I think Fort Lauderdale has such potential. I think it's starting to become more Miami than Miami is itself with, clubs and stuff. Because, Miami, they don't love the nightlife as far as, the city officials go. I've heard of that at least.
Everything's evolving, and it's even myself. When I first came down here, I found myself going down to Miami a lot. I'm a lot busier now, so I don't get down there as much. But Fort Lauderdale and Broward as a whole has grown a lot.
Yeah.
Nightlife, restaurant scene, all of that, art scene, and it's I think it's comparable to any, large market in the country.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so you find your days, are you bouncing from club to club, or do you kind of just chill at home a lot and then watch the club operate from home?
I spend the majority of my time at the Hard Rock. If I'm in town, I'm usually over there at least for a few hours every day.
Yeah.
So, it's the weekends when the parties are going on. We have great managers and great partners that are operating the venues. Definitely try to oversee, make sure everything's going well. As you know, I'm involved with the bookings and stuff like that. But most of our preparation is done during the week. The real work for me gets done during the
weekdays.
So it's trying to balance that nighttime on the weekends and having a normal life during the week.
Yeah.
When everybody else is, doing phone calls and meetings and emails.
Yeah.
So.
What do you find is the most stressful part of the owning, operating part of it?
Probably in nightlife, it just never stops. I'm on my phone constantly all day, every day, whether it's phone calls, emails, issues going on, it's tough for family life and all that because it never ends. But it's also part of, we chose to be in this.
Yeah, I think any owner operator, right? You're you got to be kind of on it all the time. I feel like that.
Pros and cons.
Yeah. But you get to be your own boss at the end of the day and kind of make the big decisions. So you've truly built something great with DAER though. Every time I play there, energy's insane. Crowd's insane, and then it's just one of the funnest sets to play.
We've had some fun parties. What was your favorite set to play at DAER? Do you have one?
Let me think. I mean, playing with Zed, I think, was probably a major bucket list thing for me. And then for me, just the interaction, right? Because obviously supported with some amazing artists, but with Zed, he was like, "Yo, let me know if you need any help with the transition." And was just super nice and humble, and not all artists are like that.
It's nice when you get that.
Yeah, someone at that level. He was asking
humble,
me, he's
very kind guy. Yeah. You know what? I was thinking about it yesterday because the Panthers just won again.
Okay.
And when it wasn't their trophy at the time, but one of the times we had Zed at the Day Club, actually the guys that hold the Stanley Cup brought it by.
Oh my God.
We have some great pictures of him with the Stanley Cup at DAER. They had it on the right next to the deck while he was playing. It's cool. Yeah, I'll have to send them to you later.
But for me that I think was a major bucket list one. Awesome. And So I appreciate you getting me in there with him. It was just a vibe.
Of course.
I played with Pauly D. Was it 2 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. And I was just blown away at how crowded it was. For the people who love him.
Paul's
energy.
The best, man.
Paul.
It's funny because he's known for Jersey Shore, but not actually from New Jersey.
Yeah,
but we've been booking Pauly for a lot of years, and he still brings everybody out in droves. It's always a great party.
I was gonna say, do you have personal relationships with because you've been operating and owning clubs for you said 15 years or so. So do you develop over the years with these artists like Steve Aoki or Pauly D?
Some more than others. Just for the repetition. A lot of these guys we book multiple dates, and year in year out for a long time. Some artists keep to themselves. Some artists, we go out to dinner or whatever. Sometimes it just depends on their schedule too.
Yeah.
Some people fly in and out. Paulie plays a lot of shows. Steve, he's playing multiple
Non-stop.
shows a day. A lot of times we'll get him and he's flying out to his Vegas show. Or something like that. But we always try to create the relationships. We're appreciative that they still love to come play for us, and it's the only way it works for everybody.
Yeah. I played the opening weekend also of DAER, like the first. I think that's how. Yeah. I think that was the first time we met, maybe properly, but it was the Chainsmokers.
Yeah.
And I remember you guys were still like trying to get DAER finished in
Might
time.
have still been painting the walls.
Yeah, it was literally like it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a crazy weekend. The club was not ready yet.
Yeah.
The Hard Rock had just opened the week before. We were rushing to get everything done, and we had big shows that weekend with Tiesto and the Chainsmokers and all these people, and the LED screen wasn't even like finished
you're like
yet.
trying to.
There was a lot of things that still need some finishing touches.
Yeah.
But ended up being great parties. We still got everything done. And,
Yeah, it's good you guys didn't pull a Brooklyn Mirage.
Yeah,
and,
I really feel
cancel
for those
everything.
guys.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on up there.
Hey, I don't know. Have you been paying attention? I don't really know. I just know they keep canceling them.
Yeah, I don't know if it's things with the city or whatever, but hopefully they can get open soon.
Yeah.
So that's an institution on the East Coast, and it's New York's a major market.
Yeah.
They need that,
especially in the summertime.
Right now, they have a lot of money invested. I hope they can get open soon.
Yeah, I don't really because I think for us as DJs or fans of the industry, you don't really see all the back end work that goes into putting on an event or opening up a venue. There's a lot of like bureaucracy, stuff like that.
Absolutely. Fortunately, we've been with the Hard Rock so long that we're partners with the Seminole Tribe.
Okay.
Who owns all the Hard Rocks or owns the whole Hard Rock brand worldwide. Okay. And they've been great partners. So it's a little bit different. We're on tribal land. So don't have to deal with the same stuff as cities and permitting and stuff like that. They have their own system for all of that.
Okay.
Sure, with all the other venues, we've done stuff in Wynwood, Fort Lauderdale, everywhere where you have to get everything okay with the city, the police, planning boards,
everyone on board.
Very important,
Yeah.
Pull the right permits and create something that's going to be a positive.
Yeah, for the community and make sure that everyone's happy. Yeah, so I'm sure that's probably what they're dealing with over in New York. I have no idea.
Yeah,
but,
I can't imagine.
But yeah, that's why sometimes I'm thankful. I'm just like on the artist side and just get to show up and play. But that's got to be stressful. So all right, so life at DAER has been great, right? Are you like trying to expand the DAER brand to other cities possibly, or
possibly? Due to our affiliation with the Hard Rock, there's always talks about new markets.
Okay.
They're always doing exciting things. So.
Is there a Hard Rock Vegas, or I know there was at one point.
There was, and now they're building a new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next,
so, in a few years.
Yeah. I remember I played the rehab pool party.
Oh, yeah.
It was a while
Legendary
ago.
party, man.
It was a fun one at the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
They're not all related to the tribe. Like is the whole Hard Rock?
Oh
wow.
Now,
okay.
Yeah. So the originally the Vegas one was excluded, but they bought the rights. They brought that one back.
That's awesome.
So. Yeah.
So they own
moving
the
into
entire...
the strip now. It'll be right in the middle of the strip.
Okay.
And that's going to be the second guitar.
That's sick. Wait, so the Hard Rock brand just in the U.S. or is it worldwide?
No, worldwide. I have to look at 67 countries, something like that.
Oh my God.
And that's every Hard Rock cafe, casino, hotel. They even have sub brands now for the hotels and stuff like that. They've grown, exponentially.
I had no idea.
An incredible company.
I mean, yeah, that's just like exploded. I mean, I know they have the Orlando one and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I mean, I remember as a kid, going to Orlando and having a cheeseburger.
Yeah, it's such a legendary brand
or whatever, and then to be a part of it like we are these years later, it's it's a dream come true.
Yeah, do you think because you obviously love the live music side of things, so it seems like a natural partner. It just seems like it would make sense that you'd be involved with them.
When I was back in high school, we were throwing teen parties and I was booking punk rock shows.
Yeah.
So it's something that I still to this day, kind of apply. It's all the same with these venues. It's a DJ, it's a band. People are coming to see them. Mm-hmm. It's taking care of people, making sure they have a great experience.
What do you notice? Because you've seen countless DJs over the years. What do you notice from like the most successful ones or the ones that you keep bringing back? Like what is like the marker of a great artist or DJ for you as the talent buyer or the person doing the events?
I think the guys that are producing their own stuff are the ones that really I think have the most growth. I come from back when the DJ was in the corner. The first club when I was a kid that my father had, it was a mirror. You couldn't even see the DJ. So
just hide that guy.
It was one-sided. Yeah, and even other venues that we had that it was back, and it was kind of like an afterthought. Now every club is built around the DJ booth.
Yeah.
So it's you have to be a superstar. You have to be able to make the music that's getting out to the people and resonates, and you have to be able to entertain people. So it's the whole
stage
package.
presence and everything.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's one thing DAER specifically has taught me a lot, because I've got to sit back and watch some of these artists that I'm supporting for how they approach a crowd and how they like get the crowd energized. For example, Aoki was like signing T-shirts and like throwing them out, and that's like pop star status.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not all DJs are doing that, but I'm just saying, I was like, wow, like that definitely flips the psychology and like just creates a more of an experience for people that are there.
Yeah,
and they're seeing that this guy's like a pop star.
And everybody's different. You have some of the DJs that come in and they're low key, they have their head down and they want the lights down, and it's a more intimate experience. But everybody's different. And we try to offer something for each crowd. So it's amazing. All the different genres of electronic music nowadays. We try to touch a little bit on everything. I never thought we would be at a major casino doing, bass and dubstep shows. And that's something that has, grown a lot with us too.
You guys have had Subtronics a few times,
yeah,
right?
Subtronics is like, you could say one of our residents. We do multiple dates with him. He's been great. We have Millennium. A lot of those guys in that world, in addition to your Tiestos, and John Summits and Dom Dallas. I mean, it's awesome to do the variety. What I really like is when we have the inside and the outside open. Yeah. Multiple sounds going on. And
I played one. It was Dead Mouse inside, right? I was on support for Dead Mouse. And then you guys had Jonas Brothers on the outside. I was like,
we've had, we had, last year we had Bruno Mars came after he did his show with the Hard Rock.
Okay.
Singing, doing a performance outside while we had Tiesto inside. We had,
did they ever link
50
up?
Cent and Cascade, over F1 this year. And we try to cross program like that. And I think a lot of music lovers appreciate both. Yeah. If they can see a little bit of each, it's a great experience.
Do the two headlining artists ever like link up?
Yeah,
like
sometimes.
Yeah,
sometimes. Yeah,
you could be like, I just introduced. That's crazy. I just introduced Tiesto and Bruno Mars.
I think they know each other, but there's been times where we introduce people, and there's been times where somebody will hop on with one of the DJs. I know you were talking about Steve. Aoki. We had French Montana last year. He happened to be there. Hopped on stage with them, did a few songs.
Yeah, that's sick.
Stuff like that where it comes together organically, and it creates a great experience for everybody.
People, they collab after it. You're like, I made that shit right there. I made
absolutely.
that happen.
We've had some of the Latin artists introduced to the EDM guys, and it's cool.
Yeah, DAER has become a great connector. I've met so many people there too.
Yeah, I love to hear that. That's what it's all about.
And so then so Sway, which is one of the other venues you operate, is that 18 plus? Is that?
It's 21 plus.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but very college oriented.
Okay.
Fort Lauderdale is a little more of a casual spot. Big spring break city, So the whole month of March we're open every single night.
Okay.
Usually it's just Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Open format vibes. We try to showcase the best of Miami-Dade, Palm Beach counties. The local guys that are out there doing it.
Yeah, I've been there for who did I see? I saw Crespo there.
Yeah,
my buddy Crespo. So
Crespo's been one of our residents there, I think, since opening.
Yeah, it's a great room. How long has Sway been going for?
Oh, geez, it's probably like 8 years now, I think.
Okay. So do you see a different so that's more of spring break, college crowd, and then DAER is a bit more.
Look, we still get a lot of locals. It's the nightclub in Fort Lauderdale. It's downtown, right in the nightlife district.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely the main club here.
Yeah.
That's cool though. So, do you have a preference? You're finding yourself more, like you said, at the Hard Rock, or are you ever at Sway still? Or?
You know what? While we were when we closed Passion, we opened up Sway. So that was like the downtime. We knew we were gonna have a few years while they were building the guitar, and while we had to do our build out.
Yeah.
So that's when we opened up Sway and Booze Garden. I transferred back to Hard Rock to open DAER, but we have great partners that still operate Sway. My brother Dylan goes over there. Yeah. My partner Greg's there.
I love Dylan.
all the times, and my partners Adam and Eric Dunn, they're over there handling the business on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. So that's So that, would you say that's one of the key things for owning and operating is just great partners and just like good people to help?
Absolutely.
Delegate.
One of the keys. If you want to expand and do different things, you have to have great partners.
Yeah, there's just too much work for one person.
You have to learn to delegate. You can't do everything yourself. You have to be able to rely on great people.
Yeah. That's awesome, though, man. So you see, like in the future, you said you might be expanding to some of the other Hard Rock locations, or just kind of
possibly.
Like,
yeah, something's always coming across. Just trying to pick and choose the right opportunities. Right now, we're going to be getting back into the restaurant business. We had
Okay.
we had Martorano's at the Hard Rock, which is a legendary
really?
Italian spot.
Oh, fuck, I love that spot.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale. They've been there, I think, 30 plus years. But
He doesn't matter. Is it the DJ? He does a DJ set.
he
and
does.
stuff.
Yeah, he's from Philadelphia.
Okay,
same
yeah.
as my parents.
I went to the Fort Lauderdale spot.
Yeah, it's
not
a
that
great
long ago.
spot. He's had spots in Vegas, Atlantic City. We did a project together at Hard Rock for about 8 years. That was at this Hard Rock here. Said we'd never get back into the food business, but we're actually opening up a restaurant and bar in Hollywood Beach.
That's awesome.
Right on the beach, oceanfront. The location. We
DJs,
just
are you thinking
no.
also, or are you?
There's it's a 4-level spot.
Okay.
Also like a tiki type thing out front.
Oh, sick.
It's a new build with a rooftop vibe too. So we got to
yeah.
talk. Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely space to do events.
I love it. Yeah, I've always wondered with Martorano's, is he always a DJ, or how did that? Do you
Steve
know
was
at all?
a DJ his whole life and a
Okay.
self-taught cook. And Gourmet Magazine said he had the best meatball in the world. So,
Yeah, that's crazy.
he cooks and DJs while he's doing it. Lots of throwbacks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
His son Joey, R.I.P., passed away a few years ago. Was a dear friend and an excellent DJ, open format.
Okay.
He was doing it for a while, but Steve's back in the kitchen.
He's still doing it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think when I saw or when I went there maybe a few years ago, it was like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. He just like hopped on the decks randomly. I was like, oh shit! Like
That's about the time. Before that, it's like 70s,
Yeah.
and then they start getting into the 80s
Starts,
where the
like,
music goes
ripping
up
it.
a little bit. They got The Godfather, Goodfellas, or something playing,
Yeah.
and when the major scenes come up, they'll drop the music and play the scene. It's an awesome.
Yeah, it's a
spot.
great brand
It's a
and
place
stuff,
everybody
too.
needs to get to. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, man. So like I said, DAER has just been a staple in my life. So I appreciate that from your end, putting me on and everything. And so many South Florida people that have come out of the academy have had a shot there as well. So I think you've really helped a lot of up and coming DJs kind of see things to fruition. Have you noticed some DJs that you like booked at like a lower level and then they like exploded to the next level, and then you see that kind of growth?
It's always great to see. We always try to keep our finger on the pulse and give people opportunities, to grow. So
Yeah.
It's what keeps us in business. The vibe has to be right, and the music is the first thing.
Yeah.
It takes everybody working together to make the party.
Yeah, so what have you had? You've had, I'm sure, bad DJs experience. You probably don't want to talk about it, but
Sure,
ones that
yeah.
like the energy wasn't there. Like, is that what you're noticing? Like the crowd is leaving early, or like what marks a bad DJ? Is that in your eyes? Just like
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's some DJs want to just play what they want to hear. When you're a headliner, you kind of expect that, but you got to read the room. So
yeah, make sure
one
that
of the most important things.
that was the main
make sure
thing.
everybody's having a good time, everybody's dancing.
That was the one of the main things that stuck out with the Zed set. It was like he was like, "Yo, like I played a little bit more like club like oriented because I know this room," and I was like, "That's crazy that even Zed is saying like he's reading the room."
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm like,
awesome.
fucking
You love to
Zed.
see that.
Yeah.
I don't ever think anybody's played a pre-recorded set in our venue.
Yeah.
It's you kind of hear about that happening, but I can't think of anybody that really we haven't. Oh, we're never inviting him back.
Yeah,
or had any
that's
really
good.
bad experiences.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok the other day. It was like the production team. I don't know who the DJ was, but they put like "You're never getting booked here again" behind
Hopefully
behind
they were
the
just
DJ.
messing with one of their
I know, I was
open air closer friends.
Yeah, because that's a brutal thing. I don't know for other DJs because it's different when you're headlining, but when you're supporting, like I want to make sure everyone's happy. I want to make sure that I'm playing the room right, and definitely reading the room is like one of the most important things. So it is definitely in, I think, the DJ's head, hopefully, at least a good DJ, to like make sure that everyone's having a good time and not just like hyper focus on, I want to play this
100%.
techno 150
As you know,
BPM.
a lot of people get excited. It's their first time playing a big room or whatever, and they want to just bang it out.
Yeah.
But your job is to set the room up for the headline.
Yeah, build it the right way.
Absolutely. Show your style. Play the right tracks, but
Yeah, there's
you don't
like
want to burn them.
that was another thing I think, because when I started at DAER a couple years ago, I was definitely more like playing more smaller headlining sets. I hadn't really played a lot of support sets, but it taught me like the right way to play the support sets and build the room. But it's always a fine line, like, because you don't want to lose the energy also, right? When you're supporting, like you still got to keep it to a certain level, but then maybe like bring it back down a little bit.
Take them on a ride,
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's that people don't get sick of it by the
Sure.
time the headliner comes on, and then like
And we need the people at the bar, If
Yeah.
you're just hitting them with the hits all night, they're going to be dancing. And
yeah. Yeah. So you look at sales at the end of the night. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
you know,
Throughout the night, continually.
Yeah. Do you notice a certain genre like sells more alcohol, or is it kind of like?
It depends on the artist for sure. When the headliners get on, bar sales they'll stop for a bit. Because everybody's all eyes on
hyper focused
opening and trying to see what's going on.
That's interesting. But you see it maintained throughout the day when it's like a major headliner, right?
Yeah.
Like you see it better.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've always been curious, like how you guys are tracking bottle sales and stuff. It's just like,
it's a lot of tables too, as you know, at our venue.
Yeah, how many tables at the day club?
It's about between 40 and 50, depending on the day.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Do you have like an order that you like? I always wonder how they choose who sits where in the table. Is it different?
Sure,
different pricing?
There's a science to it, definitely. Also depends on the client budgets and stuff like that. So each kind of different seating option has a price to it.
Okay.
Minimum. So.
So you're like, you could sit here for this price.
Yeah, and if you have a bachelor party, you want to sit 2 bachelor parties next to each other.
Yeah.
You want to mix the crowd so everybody has a good time.
Yeah, the table psychology. It's been interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many employees do you guys have? Do you know, like at DAER?
Man. A lot. Yeah,
a lot of people to keep track of.
Yeah, probably around 100.
That's great. Like, so maybe 50 day club, 50 nightclub, or do they work doubles sometimes?
Yeah, probably mixed up like that.
I've always wondered, like, there's a lot of bottle girls. I mean, you guys probably employ the most bottle girls in South
there's
Florida.
about 20 for each.
Yeah, that's crazy. Most clubs have like 3 or 4, maybe.
I think Sway we get away with 3 or 4.
Okay, yeah, 20 is a lot to keep track of. Is that a high turnover? Or is it usually do you see like the bottle girls and stuff that they stick around?
The good ones stick
long
around.
time?
If you can book, if you're personable, if you do the right thing, you can make a lot of money and you'll be around a long time.
Yeah, it's a crazy industry. I don't think that existed. Maybe like when you were coming up with clubs, the bottle girls, that wasn't a
service,
thing.
That was not a thing when I was growing up for sure. You had the ballers then would maybe buy some champagne at the bar or whatever.
But nothing past that.
Yeah,
bottle service really developed, I think, from like, what do you think, Miami nightlife culture, or maybe
where it started? I would say like the mid 2000s, maybe even into like 20. I don't know. Yeah, early 2000s, I guess.
Do you like the bottle culture, or
it's become it's just become what it is now?
Yeah.
So of course we have to cater to that.
Yeah, I guess in the past you would just flex by like showing up, with a bunch of like Rolex and shit like that.
Yeah,
but now it's like it's definitely a status symbol. Like you get the bottle at the club,
definitely,
like you're balling
where's
up.
the table located? How close are you to the DJ?
Yeah, it's crazy though. Who was I? I was in. Where was I? I was in Tampa the other day, and you just never know who's in the crowd. The guy came up. Some guy came up and he's like, "Yo, what's your Instagram?" I'm always like friendly and give my Instagram. I looked after he was a pro NFL player.
Oh yeah.
So you just never know who you're
DJing
for.
Hotbed for athletes. Absolutely, you never know who's in the crowd.
It's like have you had some crazy experiences like meeting people like NFL players?
Yeah.
Any heroes, personal heroes that you got to meet?
We get a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
I'm a Philly fan in all sports, so we don't get too many of them. Unless they're traveling.
Okay.
But I have in the past. I probably shouldn't say it. It was after a win against the Marlins. We had some Phillies come in, and we went to the game the next day, and they didn't play too well. So I had friends texting me, yo, what did you do?
Yeah, you got to play. It's good strategy.
Yeah.
That's funny though. Yeah, it's always a cool thing though, because you just, as the DJ, you never know who's in the crowd or who's watching, and then you find out after, oh shit, that person was there.
Yeah,
like watching the set. So
Yeah, we've had everybody from fighters to athletes, and a lot of times they want to come meet the DJ.
Yeah.
Or the performer. And we'll bring them up. That's
you introed me to a
too.
UFC. I forgot the UFC fighter was. It was a big UFC fighter though.
Yeah, sure.
And I was like, oh shit, it's crazy.
Yeah.
DJing at a club and meeting UFC fighters and shit.
Yep.
But that's where everyone parties. So.
Absolutely.
And then you do a bit with F1 also. I know with the race week.
Yeah, so F1 Miami, is a big week for us every week now.
Yeah.
Right after New Year's, that's probably our biggest week now. It's right at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah.
We work with the Hard Rock a lot to collaborate on the talent for that week. So, if they're having a big concert or something, maybe we can get an after party, or we can do something that's at DAER and also at the track. So that's been a great relationship.
Are you an F1 guy, or do you like watching the races?
I'm still learning about it, but it's very exciting. I've gone every year now. It's a great time.
Yeah, I don't know shit about it. I know I need to go.
Yeah, you got to come. Next year you come with us.
Yeah, I'll definitely take you up on that. So, so you do the after parties for F1, and then they have a DJ at F1 as well?
Yeah, so
or?
they set up a stage at the track.
Oh,
so
shit,
Hard Rock
okay.
has a whole area there. They set up pools and VIP area, and they do live performances.
That's sick.
They've had everybody from Post Malone, Chainsmokers.
Yeah, shit. I think I saw some videos of that.
Yeah.
Is that for like? Does F1? I don't really know. Is this forever? Like, is it gonna be in Miami?
I think they just extended it another 10 years or something like
wow.
that. So yeah, Miami is being it's been very successful for them.
Yeah, it's crazy how South Florida is just like every weekend there's something going on.
It's massive. You have to go. Every time I go, I'm just
blown away
by how big it is.
Yeah, I was. Where did I go? I think I was with like Afrojack's team, and they were celebrating it was the guy who won.
One of the guys that won.
Yeah, he was there
sure.
at 11 celebrating.
A lot of our DJs are European, and they're a lot more into it. I think it's catching on a lot in the U.S.
Yeah,
a Netflix show.
They just the Brad Pitt movies about to
F1
drop.
movies coming out.
This is not an advertisement for the F1 movie.
Yeah,
but yeah, I saw that. I'm like, all right, I can get into it.
Yeah,
fast cars. And
it's exciting.
House music,
For sure.
Awesome. So, any big plans for Morton Hospitality? Where do you see the future of the brand heading? As obviously you have the restaurant opening up soon, hopefully.
Yeah, it's just trying to maintain the same level of excellence at all the venues. Make sure people are coming and having a great time. Keeping an eye on what's next and growing, and hopefully some more great opportunities come our way. We'll get this restaurant and bar open in Hollywood, hopefully, by like November.
Okay.
So, we got our hands full right now.
In time for New Year's? Big New Year's party?
Yeah, just in time for this season.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, thank you again for coming out and doing this, and I'm sure I'll see you at DAER shortly. But
absolutely, brother.
Until next time.
Appreciate it, Ryan.